SoCal Summer Swing Out podcast. I'm your host, Andre. And today I am joined by the one and only Jason Hammons. What's up, good sir?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, man. Dude. Okay, so it's funny with me and Jason because at Atomic, Jason, first of all, is an amazing bal dancer. Okay. And there's this joke between us where I tried to do the stuff that he was doing when I was first learning bal, completely failed. It did not work. I would be dancing with someone, and then I'd see him do something and try it. It just did not work at all.
But you're still a better dancer than I am.
No. You're being far too kind. Which is, since we're talking about being a good dancer, I do want to talk about Camp Hollywood later. But for the people who don't know, Jason, who is Jason Hammons? Who is this really wonderful, sweet guy that people see at Atomic, and he's so kind?
Well, I'm one of the oldest people that goes there. That's like I'm the elder statesman of Balboa at this point. I'm 48 years old, just turned. I was born and raised in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, moved to California in 1995 to Orange County, actually, funny enough.
Okay.
Almost started swing dancing back then. Almost.
Really?
Was this close? Because it was like in the first era of the resurgence of swing. But I always loved the music, and then moved to Europe for a minute, and then after living in Europe, I moved to LA, and then I lived in Hollywood for the last 20 years until the pandemic. And then when the pandemic happened and I started working remotely, I moved to just outside of Pasadena, a little town called Monrovia.
And that's where you are now?
That's where I am now. Yeah, which is great. And it's so funny because two of my friends who are also Balboa dancers bought houses like a mile from me here. So there's like this little, we're gonna make Monrovia the like Balboa community. So everybody try and move to Monrovia because it's one, just a cool little town, and two, convenient to get everywhere, and three, it's gonna be great for Balboa. So we just got to open our own little dance studio here.
Are you trying to make a little Balboa commune?
Yes.
Just a cul-de-sac with a bunch of dancers.
Yeah, Min lives like a mile from me, and Jeff Sue lives like a mile and a half from me.
Holy crap. Okay, so do you all ever like hang out outside of like Atomic and stuff?
Yeah, we definitely have.
Dude, that is so nice.
I like cat sit for Min when he's out of town and stuff. It's great.
That is really, have I told you about my dream about the dance house?
No.
Yeah, dude, I really would like to start a dance house here in OC. I'm really close. I'm really close to like putting things in motion, but I would love to create a dance house where dancers live together. And if there are people from out of town, if you're from out of town and you're listening, once I have the dance house, we'll have like a room for a dancer to be able to stay in.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I mean, that's what I like. So my office is also my little dance room, and I have like a whole I have a sliding closet doors that are all mirrored, and then I have really good floor. So during the pandemic, it was great because this is where I practiced. And if you ever I have all these videos of like solo Balboa, or actually cowbell, the virtual cowbell. I did the solo Balboa contest, so you can see like my room in action in that if you go back and watch those videos. But yeah, it was like such a great thing to be able to move out of Hollywood, where we have like this much room to live in. Out here we have more space, and so we have a whole room that is like my home office, and then our dance space, which is great.
Dude, that's awesome. Now, question. So you mentioned you almost started swing dancing back in the 90s. Like, walk me through that.
So I just it was one of the, it's funny. It was Swing Kids. Like I saw that.
Oh,
came, but like when it first came out.
Snap. Okay.
I was like 19 or 18 and just thought it was so cool. And the music was having a resurgence, and I was listening to that. But I was also like super into skateboarding and like punk music and indie hip hop and stuff. So I was into a lot of different things, but skateboarding was like my thing. And so it just never was enough for me to start. And I didn't have anyone personally that was like in swing dancing that got me to go do it, but I was really close. I was very interested. If I just had one person push me, I would have started doing it because I've always loved dancing. I just never did it in like a formal way. You know what I mean? But I've always gone dancing and like loved to dance.
Oh, dude, like what did you do dance? Any other type of
No.
dance before?
No, I just like to move my body. I don't know if you've noticed for an atomic, like I'm never not moving my body. Like I can't help myself. There's music on, I cannot help myself but move. And like when I was living in Germany, I worked at this ski resort, and it was this weird thing where I worked for the US military at a ski resort, at a ski lodge. Super weird. It was like they would send the military people on vacation there, and they hired American civilians to work there. But we had a dance contest. Like, but it was just get out and dance.
Yeah.
Like, they just put on, and it was like, Jamiroquai and stuff like that. That was playing, and I won that dance contest.
Hey.
And I have a picture somewhere in like a from that time of me dancing in like a sweat. It's like so goofy, but yeah. And I won the prize was a portable CD player that had like 8 times oversampling, so I could almost use it while snowboarding, but it still skipped all the time. But that was the world we lived in back then. We didn't have MP3s.
Oh yeah. Well, for you young kids that are listening, a CD player. Yeah. I can't believe I have to say this, but we used to listen to music in CD players. You put the disc in there, and you couldn't jump to like a specific song. You had to go in sequential order, which is crazy now. Right?
Yeah, next song. Well, I mean, I'm more of the era of cassettes. So like fast forwarding, rewinding, that was the worst. And then they'd have, if you didn't live through that time, you wouldn't know that they actually had mechanisms in cassette players where you could hit like this double fast forward button. It would go to the next song because it would monitor for when there was a silence, and then it would stop. So that was the closest we could get with cassette play. That was like high tech cassette players. You could like fast forward to the next song and be like to get to the next song. It didn't work that well. If there was like songs that didn't have like a sound, like a silent break, it wouldn't work. Yeah,
dude, I learned something today. I did not know that those existed. That's nuts. Okay,
I forgot they existed until just now.
until just now, like going back. Yeah,
I mean that was 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, and so here you almost started dancing, but you didn't. So then how did it happen? How did you get the bug?
So actually it's my girlfriend Vanessa. So like Vanessa has always been obsessed with like vintage fashion, specifically 1940s stuff. So when we started dating, it was probably like 2 years after we started dating, or 3 years after we started dating, she like brought it up and was like, we had gone to Dapper Day and watched people dance before that. And she was like, we should do this. So then for our anniversary, I bought us a Groupon for Lindy Loft. And that's which funny enough, we took our very first class, and our teacher was Ashley Peretta, who's now my dance partner, my contest partner. So she was the person I got our first like, and this is a rock step, and this is a triple step, and funny enough, fast forward now we're like dance partners, and fun stuff. Dude. But yeah, Vanessa was the one that got me started. But then like when we started doing it, she's already a great dancer, like doesn't need like, she grew up dancing, her mom salsa and everything. But me, even though I love to dance, it took me a lot more work to get this down. And I became obsessed from the start. Like as soon as we started doing, especially with Lindy Hop, I was like, all right, this is cool. But I was still doing like, I did Muay Thai kickboxing for like 10 years. So I was still doing that. And I would go from like kickboxing over to the dance classes. And it was interesting to see the correlation between movement in kickboxing or boxing in general and dance. Triple steps and kickball changes are like how you move around when you're boxing.
Interesting.
So when I started doing it, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is just like, it's like boxing, but cooperative instead of antagonist. It's like you're like the movements are the same, but instead of moving against each other, you're moving with each other. It's like an interesting, so that's might be another reason why it just like instantly clicked with me. But but when we started doing, we went to Lindy Loft and we did Lindy Hop for like 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dax decided to do a Balboa class and a shag class. And I thought shag was going to be my thing. Like I watched it, I was like, oh, shag looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started taking the classes and I just fell in love instantly with Balboa. And then it was like done. I didn't care about anything else. I didn't care about Lindy Hop. I didn't care about shag. All I cared about was Balboa. And that was like the end of 2018, like the very end of 2018. That we started dancing. And so then they closed down Lindy Loft like 6 months later. So we only took lessons for like 4 months. And I still like didn't really social dance because I was super scared to ask anyone to dance. And like Dax is an amazing dancer, but he's not a bal dancer. So he wasn't teaching like what I don't like, I consider like how I would teach bal if I was teaching bal, or how I want to be taught bal was different than what he was teaching us. And so it was kind of like from 3 months or 4 months in to basically November. So like say like April to November of 2019, we really didn't have anyone teaching us. It was just us watching videos online and trying to figure it out. Then at the end, like the end of 2019, we took a couple classes with Jeremy Oth and Melissa Shaheen, which were great. Like those were the first, like, oh my God, this is what Balboa lessons are supposed to be like. This is actual, it was so awesome. And then Cowbell happened in 2020. We went to that. And then the pandemic started. So before we could even really get started, it all stopped.
Yeah. And wait, so you didn't take any privates after Lindy Loft closed? I
never took a private in my life.
Ever,
yeah. Until I have now, but at that point I had, yeah.
Gotcha. And so because Lindy Loft is all the way up in LA, during that time you were in Monrovia?
No, I was in Hollywood then.
Gotcha. So it was still a drive, yeah?
Yeah, it'd be faster to get there from Monrovia because the traffic, coming from Hollywood to downtown is way harder than coming from Monrovia to downtown.
Yeah. Okay, so then you essentially like really started Balboa in 2018, right?
Well, yeah, the end of 2018.
Gotcha.
But we're talking like I knew how to do the basic.
Yeah.
In 2018, I could do a basic. In 2019, I could do like a toss out and what I would now not really consider out and ins because I didn't really understand the concept, but I would move out and in. But I didn't understand what an out and in really is, and like it's a flow and it's not like a move. And like a lolly, I could do those 3 things. But I mean, those are the core things, but they were like, now looking back at it, if you watch videos of me doing it, then you'd be like, oh my God, it's so bad. I didn't really understand what I was doing. Dude. I could recreate the look, like the motion, but I didn't understand like how it actually felt and the connection and all those things until much later. Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, dude, I'm there now because I know the shape, but I swear I am not doing it right. I'm doing it like a Lindy Hopper.
Believe me, we'll figure it out.
So for those listening, by the way, everyone from SoCal who's listening who knows you as the Balboa guy. Okay. And this is how far it is, everyone. So when I ask people to jump on the podcast, I ask them to fill out a bullet point. And Jason was the only one who said Balboa rules. That is the only
thing. The only topic I wanted.
I mean, it was enough for me because I knew exactly what you meant. And I know exactly like what this podcast would entail. So that being said, because you said Balboa rules, I'm curious, what is it about Balboa that you love? And I know this is a deep question, but what is it about Balboa that you love so much? Like, what is intrinsic and all that?
It's the subtlety of it and the pulse of it. Like it has a different feel than Lindy Hop. Lindy Hop to me has this like, I don't know if bounce is the right word, but it just has this like movement like this. Yeah. And Balboa is either smooth or like this kind of constant slower pulse or like lower pulse. And it's also like me and I've talked about this a lot with different people, but it's also how much swing there is in the music, so how much off the 2 and 4 are. And like in Lindy Hop, it really swings. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it feel like you want to dance Lindy Hop. And so if a song feels like that, it's really hard to dance Balboa to it, even if the tempo's faster. Whereas for me, like Lindy Hop or Balboa has that tighter 2 and 4, so it's not quite as swingy, makes it feel like Balboa to me. And that's just how I feel it. So that's why, and that works better at high tempos. That's why high tempos feel good at Balboa, because you can't swing as much when there's not enough room in the song to swing on a 2 and 4. And also, like, certain types of instruments lead to that. So one of the reasons like Jonathan Stout feels so good for Balboa is the guitar doesn't swing as much as if there's no guitar, because it kind of keeps that pulse going. And that's what really speaks to me. And that's why, like, you know, gypsy jazz works so well for Balboa, because it's got that kind of pulse that happens. And that's how it feels for me. And so like Blake and I talk about this a lot, and like, you know, we like a lot of the same music. And for me, that's how I pinpoint it, is like, how much does it swing on the 2 and 4?
Wow, I'm like, that was like a doctorate in music there, because holy crap, like the 2 and 4 swings, and I need to like revisit that, because damn. So it sounds to me like you really got drawn to the music and the dance because, oh, you got drawn to dance because of the music first, yes?
Yeah, for sure. I
And
mean, I love music so much, and like I've always loved music so much.
yeah.
That's definitely the thing that pulls me to it.
And but you're also a musician, right? By the
Mhm.
guitars in the background.
Yeah. Although, like, I don't play very much. It's like dance has like overtaken that side of things for me. So I
Uh-huh.
barely touch my instruments anymore, which is sad, but it's like if I have the one or the other to work on, I'm working on dance stuff now.
Okay, gotcha. So
But I
as a
did music for a really long time. Like, you know, I spent 10 years playing in bands and
oh
touring,
yeah.
doing all that stuff. So it was like I kind of have like a 10-year, like I for 10 years I did skateboarding and snowboarding. And then for 10 years I did kickboxing. Or
Hmm.
sorry, then 10 years I did like bands. And then
Hmm.
for 10 years I did kickboxing. And now I'm in my 10 years of dance, but hopefully that'll go longer. But like there's crossover between them, but that's kind of like how I've been. So I spent a good 10 years of just focusing on music and
So it's an interesting correlation, right? Because Demetrio was the podcast back in
yeah.
March, and he was talking about how music drew him to dance. And I feel like it's a powerful motivator, because Frankie Manning said, you know, when we're dancing, it's like it's like a three-way relationship between your partner, the music, and yourself. Do
Yeah.
you feel like that Balboa has that element, except it's tightened because of like the dance form?
I guess, I mean, to me, it totally does. Like, I don't think it has any different than any other music. So, like,
Yeah.
for me, especially right now, specifically in the way I'm enjoying dancing, is like lots of syncopated footwork
Uh-huh.
to go with the music. And like,
Mhm.
I'm finally at a place in my dance where I'm comfortable enough with all the movement to be able to really focus on the music, which took a long time. If you ask Vanessa, she would laugh at me how bad my musicality was. But like now I'm feeling like I'm really dancing to the music more than
Mhm.
ever, and like really focusing on that, and like trying to like make that a part. And I'm really enjoying just doing crazy foot stuff to go with the music, because like that's what I like about the dance, you know.
Dude, there were Vanessa's TikTok, which by the way, everyone should check out Vanessa's TikTok. I'll put it in the description because
Yeah.
it is good. But
Yeah.
it's the one where you and Vanessa were just doing clean as F, like basics. Was that
Yeah.
would you call
Just
it
pure
basics?
bow. No. Those, I mean, they're not like none of it is like the basic. It's all
Yeah.
like own versions of basics.
Yeah. And Izzy was just like standing there in awe. Like,
Yeah.
wow. Is that what you mean by like fancy, like
Yeah.
synthetic
Yeah.
work?
Yeah. But even in like a lot of it is in out and in the out and in feel, like that
Uh-huh.
part of the dance. Is where I'm doing a lot of it right now, where you have a little bit more room to move around than when you're in
Uh-huh.
PBL. So you can do lots of like really cool like kickball change stuff, and like, yeah, just lots of cool stuff you can do there.
Interesting. Dude, you're like really the podcast isn't even like halfway through, and I'm already so inspired. I want to go take a private for Balboa now.
You should.
Well, speaking of which, just going back to the whole Balboa piece, some people might be listening to this and they don't know what Balboa is. Can you give us like a quick idea of what Balboa is if you were talking to
Yeah, sure. So, it's a dance that started in Newport Beach, Balboa Peninsula, which is like, and it started at, I mean, as far as we know, at the Rendezvous Ballroom that was down there, and it was like, I don't know exactly the time frame, but like late 20s, early 30s. And there's like, I've read different things about, and I'm not a historian on this at all. Like there's people that know way more. This is the basics of it.
Yeah.
And so, and it was a like a close embrace dance. So you dance it like super connected. And it's really important that when you're in Pure Val, you are super connected, like chest to chest. You need that connection for it to work because of the way it's body led, and like if you're not connected like that, it's never going to feel right. And I was in Arizona last weekend for Badass Balboa, and I was talking to a couple people there that said like a lot of people there aren't connected. It just doesn't, they didn't realize till they danced with someone who really did it like connected the way you're supposed to, like, oh my God, it feels totally different. You need that connection. And then in LA around the same time, there was LA Swing, which is what we consider Bal Swing now. So they were kind of two different dances, and they just kind of got combined, especially like later years when as swing dancing got less popular and these dancers started mixing more, the dances became more combined in like the 50s and 60s and 70s. And then the old timers that everybody that dances now learn from, that we learn from, that they learn from, like the Nicks and the Tissays, and they they were dancing both because they had mixed so much and started dancing together. And that's where you get like that Bal Swing and Balboa as like kind of the same dance, but really it's kind of two different dances. It's LA Swing and Balboa. At least that's what I understand. And again, I'm not a historian. This is just what I've read, heard, found out over the years.
Yeah. And I will admit, I haven't done as much research in Balboa, but I was interested because it's when I first moved to California. Did I tell you about the story about how I moved here and I danced with Nicky Marvin?
No.
Oh my God, Jason. So I moved here and I went to Atomic. This must have been my like second or third time. Jonathan Stout was playing. I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
I knew who Nicky Marvin was because I'd taken like workshops from her in the Midwest, but it was a fast song. And I was like, oh yeah, this is bumping. Oh, Nicky's here. And I asked her to dance. And we were swinging out. I swear to you, everyone in the entire room was doing Bal. And I was swinging out. And then Nicky was like, you're not from around here, are you?
Like, why are you swinging out when you could do Balboa to this?
I know. And then I realized, I looked around and I was like, oh, okay. I had taken 3 Balboa classes and I barely knew how to do the basic, but I started doing it and I felt so bad. Nicky was being so sweet.
Yeah.
Balboa, dude, it's such a different dance if you've only been doing Lindy Hop the entire time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I believe it. And I have trouble doing Lindy Hop because I'm so Balboa focused that I'm
yeah. Which is
so weird. Like how do I move correctly?
Yeah, and then now you have those triple threats like Blake, Patrick, Jungle, Gordon that do everything.
I'd run away.
Dude,
get me out of here.
I feel you because I still like to call myself the threat and a half of SoCal. I just have Lindy Hop, which I'm comfortable with, and then Balboa is the half. That's it.
Yeah,
nothing else. Shag, I'm a no shag guy. I say that right now, but
I actually enjoy the shag basic. It's kind of fun because it feels a little bit like Balboa. So I enjoy the shag basic. I just, the way turning and stuff works in Lindy Hop and shag is just like it just doesn't feel the same as toss outs. Toss outs just feel so good. They feel so good. Like the way the rotation goes and that it just doesn't, it isn't emulated in the other dances the same way. And I just, that's the best to me. So like,
talk to me about that, because when you were showing me the toss out, we were just messing around one time at Atomic. You were showing me the toss out. When you did the toss out on me, it felt very smooth and floaty, but very assertive. Like When in your dance journey learning Balboa did it finally like sort of click with you that that's what it was supposed to feel like?
I mean, it would have been later.
Yeah.
It was a while before. It was probably when I started taking like classes with Nick.
Oh, uh-huh.
Really, because he's just such an incredible teacher, and
Mm.
like really understanding how it's like a two-pronged thing. So like you as the lead need to give the room for the follow to do what they need to do, but the follow also needs to make sure that they're getting their hip around into the rotation and getting the connection right, because without that it doesn't feel right either. So it's like, you need to work together to make it work. But if you lead it correctly, it's hard for the follow not to do it right. You know what I mean? Like they're just going to be like, oh wow, like they have to actively try not to they have to work against the way their body is moving to not do it correctly. So that's why if I dance with someone who doesn't know Balboa but they're a good dancer, there's a good chance that if I just lead a toss out the right way, they're just going to do it because they're used to, like, they understand momentum and feeling, and they're just gonna go, oh, I'm supposed to go here. Oh wow. All of a sudden I turn that direction and it just feels so good.
Yeah. That's interesting for me. Like I'm trying to understand it, and the way you're explaining it is starting to make a lot of sense. So then here's my next question, because we were talking about toss outs,
Yeah.
right? Cameron Book, who was on the podcast in March, he said that he spent like 6 months just doing a swing out and tuck turns and side passes for like
Yeah.
the longest time. How did you approach like feeling comfortable with like the basics of bounce, like the basic toss out and lollies?
Well, I mean, the thing is, again, I didn't really get to social dance before the
Oh.
pandemic. So I have kind of a different path of learning Balboa than probably a lot of people do, because like I learned some very basic stuff and then the pandemic happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then for almost 2 years, like I live with Vanessa, so we could practice here and there, but Vanessa does not like to practice. I I love to practice. So
Yeah.
I would, and I was obsessed with Balboa, and it was something that helped get me through the pandemic, was my
Yes.
obsession with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent all my time just like watching contests, watching videos, watching everything I could find,
Mm-hmm.
also taking every online class I could. Specifically, Laura Keat and Jeremy Oth did a lot of really great classes.
Mm.
And Andreas Olsen had a solo Balboa workshops that he would do for like 4 weeks in a row, and they were amazing. And that really got me through. And like I focused so much on footwork
Mm.
and pulse and feeling the music and musicality through my feet in a way that I never would have had that not happen. I would have been out there dancing and doing the same toss outs all the time and probably not progressed nearly as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
And because during that time, I spent so much time working on myself in Balboa before I
Mm.
was dancing with anyone else, or very occasionally dancing with Vanessa. Um, I think it changed like how I learned it versus like the way most people do.
Yeah.
And that's why I have such a focus on footwork and such a focus on different basics. I have like 7 different basics I like to go between, and like the way I do all the different things that I do is because of that time that I didn't have anyone to dance with, or the occasional dancing with Vanessa.
This is gonna show how little I know about Balboa, but did you say 7 different basics?
Yeah, like different ways of like fanning, or the like doing triple steps in my basic in different places and doing fake triples, and there's just all kinds of stuff you can do where
Oh.
instead of being like step step hold step 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 hold step, it's like step triple hold step hold fan, like there's like 3 that I kind of like rotate between, but then there's other ones I throw in too. And then there's like classic, like old timer basics that I know too. So it's like you do this guy's basic, you do this guy, and you mix those in with the basics you're doing, and just all that stuff. You know, and I don't think about it. It's just like whatever makes sense with the music at the time is what I'm doing.
Interesting. Okay. Now, this is all talking about, this is so technical and I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the questions I've always had about Balboa is, so we're all talking footwork right now, right? But the connection that you had, you talked about like that close connection.
Yeah.
I this is something I've always wanted to ask you, but slow bow. How the hell do you do it?
It's, again, you have to be super connected. It's important that the follow is like behind, and this is in Balboa in general, I think, you know, is like the follow has to be behind the beat. Like they have to, like if they commit to something before you move that direction, that's when things get off. So the better they are about like being on, like having their weight not committed until you lead that commitment,
Yeah.
it helps. And so especially in slow bow, like in slow bow, you really have to do that. So, and you have to be super connected. Like you have to be like there's all the information is here in this arm,
Yeah.
here in the chest here. And that's where everything is, like those two spots, like not your hand. The hands have nothing, like this hand has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
literally it's about that hand. And like if I'm dancing with a new follow, a lot of times I'll be like, hey, let's put that away. Let's just dance like this. Because then they'll see, oh, that doesn't matter. Because otherwise they're like doing this to you the whole time, like a really stiff arm. And like this hand could be like doing nothing. And it's just like it's all in here. And when you're moving, and I even overdo it. So like Jacob Wigger will like work with me, and he'll be like, man, literally you just need to move like this. I'm like, oh, it's so hard to tone it down even more. And when me and Ashley are working on stuff, it'll be like, okay, this is okay, but what are we doing wrong? And it's always like, we just need to do it smaller and do it smaller and do it smaller and do it smaller. And then it looks better and feels better. And yeah.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. Like, oh, for anyone listening, I know that some people, when they think Balboa, they think it's just like the super fast music, but it's not true. Like I've watched you do slow bow, and I'm like, dude, that looks so.
It's so fun. I love slow bow. I'm so excited about Great Lakes Balboa Skate because they have a slow bow contest.
Really?
And a pure bow contest, which is like, I don't think there's any other slow bow contests in the US. They do a lot of them in Europe, but and then there's the only other pure bow contest that I know of is at Cal Bow. So it's great to get to do both of those. Because most are just like bow swing, like mix everything together. But slow bow is so much fun. And getting to do that is going to be really great.
Snap. Okay. Well, who knows? Maybe I might have a slow bow comp in this thing someday. Huh? Hey. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, I was gonna ask you. Oh yeah, with slow bow, I was dancing with Vera one day, and
amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah, so this is where you come in, because remember how I keep trying to copy you, right? It was a slower song, and I was watching you do slow bow. I forget who it was with, but I was watching your feet. And so then I started doing it, and it actually worked. And then Vera was like, oh, you know slow bow. I was like, I've never done this before. I just picked it up because I was watching Jason, and we both started cracking up because we were like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to copy Jason.
And it's so funny because I'm just copying other people too. So you're just like a carbon copy of a carbon copy. It's not like I do anything original, you know. I'm just doing what I've learned or watched other people. I mean, we're so lucky in SoCal. Like I get to sit there every week and watch Blake and Jeremy and Jacob and Nick and Chris and all these incredible leads.
Yeah.
And just go, I'm going to steal that. Oh, I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that. Ooh, that's cool. I'm stealing that too. So, you know, we're really lucky here. And so anything you steal from me is just something I stole from somebody else. So.
We're just trying to steal all that. Dude, how fun. This is completely, how fun is it that we get to like hang out with these awesome, not only are they great dancers, but they're great people.
Dude, they're the best. It's great. I love our scene so much. It's like,
yeah.
Like there's so many people and there's so many different little, I mean, you could call them cliques, but like for me, I like making friends with everybody. So like, because I'm in like all these different groups of people, and I don't even think they're like cliques. It's just like, you know, you have your friends. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's also like no one's ever going like, oh, you can't hang out with us, you know. So
Right,
it's
right.
great that you get to like hang out with this group and hang out with this group and hang out with this group, and they're all such fun people, and they're also have different takes on the dances and stuff, but they're all, it's great. I love it.
I very much agree. And I will say, oh man, you made me lose my train of thought. There were so many different directions we can go with this. But we talked about slow Val. We talked about how you got into Balboa and whatnot. I'm actually curious to know a bit more about how you went from learning Balboa and then starting social dance again once it came back to how you started competing. Because you weren't competing like back in 2018, right?
No, I did. Me and Vanessa did the strictly at Calbow 2020, but I mean, it was like, I enjoy doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So even though we were like no chance of actually getting anywhere in it, it was like, yeah, let's just do it. Why not?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and she definitely does not like doing stuff like that. So that's why, like, when right when people were just starting to like kind of get together outside in parks, you know, kind of thing, Ashley Peretta, like, we were friends on Facebook after going to Lindy Loft, and she's like, hey, we're going down to Long Beach for this thing. And so we went and we started talking there, and we didn't even dance together that day because it was like she was with someone else, and she's like, oh, we're not ready to mix, you know. It was like at that point where it's like you still didn't dance with anyone outside of literally your person.
Yeah.
And Ashley and I started talking, and Camp Hollywood, this was 2021, Camp Hollywood was supposed to happen that year, and she's like, you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Vanessa doesn't want to compete, let's do it. So we started like working together, and then it got canceled. But we ended up just keep practicing all the way from then until 2022 Camp Hollywood. And, you know, Ashley's so great, and she's such a great partner, and we have such a great partnership because we're both super chill and like just want to have fun and don't have like a lot of like, we gotta win. It's just like, let's just have a great time.
Yeah.
Let's work on stuff and let's let this be a fun thing. But I personally, like, I love competing. I think competition's great. If I never win a competition for the rest of my life, I'm totally okay with that. If I never make it to finals for the rest of my life, I'm totally okay with that. Because I'm not doing it to like be a winner. I'm doing it because I think it's really fun. It's a good way to support the events you go to. It's a good way to support the other people you dance with. And it's a good good chance to like get some good dances and like mixing matches and stuff like that. So
right.
I love it.
Let's dig into the competition piece a little more, because I wanted to hear your thoughts. I think it's really cool that you brought up the competition piece, because I've talked about that with other people on the podcast, and I think it's really important to hear what you said, because you said some things that I think are really important. You mentioned that you and Ashley you're just competing for fun. If you never won a competition again, you'd be fine. But you mentioned that competitions are are good because you're supporting the event and whatnot.
Yeah. So if you think about like how an event keeps going, you know, they've got to have multiple revenue streams, and one of the revenue streams is contests, you know. And so even if I know like because we won the amateur Balboa at Camp Hollywood, we now have to compete in opens. Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to beat Blake, you know. I'm not beating like Jeremy Oth and Blake and stuff like that, and Vasu and all of them, and because they're amazing and they're such great dancers. But I love dancing with them and being in contests with them. And so you could say I'm throwing away my money by doing it if I know I'm not even going to make it to finals. But to me, that's part of supporting the event and like helping the event continue and go on and be there next year and pay for the people that are working it and pay for the people that are organizing it, because there's so much work that goes into that, and we all benefit from that. And yes, we pay to do it, but this is one of the ways we can help. And so I'm happy to do it personally. Yeah.
So how would you say that you and Ashley, like, what mentality do you go into each comp with? Is it literally just fuck all and we're just gonna have fun? Or is it like, yeah, let's do it?
No, it's like we're gonna try to win. We're gonna dance our best that we can. Like there's no question about like the quality of the dance we want to do. We're not like half-assing it and just like, meh, we don't need to practice. Like we're giving it our all. There's no question about that. But winning is not the reason. Like the giving it our all is so that we're better dancers, we have better dances, we continue to progress as dancers. But it's not because I think that me getting first place in a contest that's subjective, dependent on judges, like what they're feeling, that, like, that's not the validator for me. The validator for me is, did I have fun? Do I have fun? And social dancing is like the most important thing to me. So like, even if it just means like more people go, oh, I should dance with him because he was in the contest. That to me is like a validation, because now I've got more people to dance with in social dancing, which is what I really love. And like, doing mix and match is really fun because you get to dance with people maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. And then you're like, oh my God, that was such a great dance. Let's dance again later. And that to me is worth it,
Right. Dude, so much good nuggets in there. So much good nuggets, because I think you and I talked about this, but that's the same way that Amy and I approach comps. We approach it with it would be nice mentality. But I think I picked up something new today, being that competitions are great because you support the event, because events are hard and they take up a lot of money, and it helps you become a better dancer and you get to meet people. I've never talked to anyone where they said that competitions are good, because even if you're in the competition and someone sees you dance and they're like, oh, I want to dance with you, like that's a benefit because you get to meet more people for social.
Yeah, that's a win. To me, that's a huge win. So yeah.
Speaking of wins, I really want to know how you felt when you were, because for those who don't know, like Jason mentioned earlier, he and Ashley won the amateur Balboa comp at Camp Hollywood, which is huge, by the way. Like, major congrats on that.
Thank you.
But what was your thought process during the comp and then after they announced you were first place?
During the comp, all I was thinking is like, man, this is so much fun. And like, it's funny because me and Ashley are the same. Like, we have no like nervous energy. Like, just not who we are. Like, I played in bands before doing this, and played like big shows, lots of people. Like, so I've done that. And then it's funny, my sister sent me these videos from when, like, literally from like 1985, 1986, of me and our church choir dancing or singing and performing, that I totally forgot I was like lead in those things. So like, it's never been something I was afraid of. Sorry, my cat is joining.
Oh, no worries.
It's never been, I've just never had that nervous energy. And even in bands, like my bandmates would get super nervous before every show. And I was out there talking to everybody before the show. Oh, thanks for coming. This is gonna be so much fun. Then like right before, okay, I gotta go play. And then I'd run up. So it's the same energy for me that I've always had. And so for me, the contest is literally just super fun. And I'm not worried about our performance, because again, it probably helps that I'm not worried about winning. I just want to have a good time. And I'm just not, like, being in front of people doesn't bother me. That being said, like, it's so much fun. Like, I really enjoy it, and I enjoy dancing with the people we're dancing with, and like the mood and energy of people before you dance, before the contest is just great.
Yeah, I'll say, like, that statement that you said when I asked you, like, what was your thought process? You were thinking, oh man, this is so much fun. Yeah. That can be night and day for so many people, because other people are like in their heads about, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. Oh, how do I need to look at the judges, I need to look at where I'm at and all that. But you were just thinking, yeah, this is great.
Yeah. I mean, you practice all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like when me and Ashley are practicing, she's much better at that than I am, because she's as a dancer a lot more. But she's like, okay, let's figure out what direction we need to be, and she's really good at like back leading us facing the right direction and stuff, and like reminding me of things we need to do, and like things we want to do in a contest. Like, she's so amazing at that. Again, why our partnership works really well is like it's very collaborative and very like working together. But it's also like, if we don't do something right, there's no like choke moment, like, oh my God, we did wrong. It's like, oh, whatever. It's a social dance, like, if anything, I want to be even more social dancey than like try to like pull off certain moves. I want to get to the point where, you know, you're going to practice a lot and you're going to have things down, but in the moment, it's just, you know, just have a fun dance.
Yeah, I think Mikey Pedroza mentioned in the podcast on the track that when he competes, like they put it, Nicky Marvin and him, they put in a lot of effort. But then once it's comp time, he's like, all right, hopefully all that effort is still retained in my body.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's what you and Ashley did, yeah?
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Dude, that's awesome. And by the way, Ashley is pretty darn cool. I've only like met, I've danced with her maybe a couple times, but she's so nice.
Yeah, she's great.
And
she doesn't social dance as much as she used to, which is unfortunate, but she's still an incredible dancer.
Yeah.
Nobody like you know me, I'm one of social dance like every day.
Yeah.
So, like I'm at everything I can go to for the most part. So but she doesn't get out as much, but she's so cool. She's great.
Dude, she's dope. Speaking of social dancing, did I tell you that I have a little secret of when I DJ at Lindy Groove?
Oh, what's that?
So when I DJ at Lindy Groove, I think you weren't there the last time I DJ'd, but when I'm DJing at Lindy Groove, I try to cater to like, you know, the crowd that's there. But every time I do play like faster songs, I peer over at the corner where you, Jay, Jeff, all of you are, Jacob. If you all are doing bow, I'm like, yes, I'm doing it right. But when you're not, I'm like, oh shit, what am I gonna change?
That's funny. Yeah, it's I was talking to Grace about this the other day. Like I came on a Tuesday and she's like, oh good, you're here. I know when I see you, I can start turning up the music because I can turn up because it's like the tempo could go up a little bit because Jason's here. And that's the like the trigger of, oh, it's around 9:30. Let's pick up the pace a little for Jason. And I appreciate that a lot. And the funny thing is, I don't even need fast music. It's that feel. It's that does it swing or not? And so something can be 180 and feel great for Balboa, and something can be 200 and feel weird for Balboa. It's really about the type of song, which one of the things I love about Grace's DJing is she plays a lot of stuff that tempo isn't as important. It's like it's a good feel for me. So even if she's playing at Lindy Groove where they kind of keep the tempos down, there's still a lot of songs that make sense for Balboa.
Yeah, the way that Lance and Vicky were explaining it to me, where some songs are slower in tempo, but they have a high energy. And then some songs are high energy, but are slower tempo.
Sure. I mean, there's songs that are like 210, but because of the way the song goes, it feels really chill.
Yes.
You know? Like, you're just kind of bopping along. And there's other songs that are like 195, but it's like you feel like you gotta throw yourself around.
Yeah, 150%.
And I like both. Like I actually like really chill songs. The fun thing about getting better at Balboa is like you can be doing a really fast song and it's super chill.
Yes.
Like I can be like 230 and be like super relaxed and just my feet are going and my upper body is like nothing's going on. It's great.
Yeah. That actually happened to Vera and I. The first time like Balboa sort of like clicked in my brain, I was dancing with Vera at Calbal and it was so chill, but everything just worked. Also, it's Vera. So like
she's such a great dancer.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. So I very much empathize with that. Also, a quick note, for any of you listening that are wondering what are these numbers we're talking about, we're talking about BPMs. So anytime we're talking tempo, we're talking beats per minute, which we're talking 180. What would you say is a BPM, like your pocket BPM?
My pocket is like 190 to 230.
Ah.
Over 230, it just gets less fun. I mean, it's like you can't really be as musical. You're just trying to keep it going. It can still be fun. I don't want to say it's not because it can still be really fun because it's super high energy. But like the slower songs, you can be more musical. The faster songs, you can just get more high energy stuff out. But like I'd say 190 to 230 is like my sweet spot.
190 to 230. Okay. I'll remember that for I have a whole like
I could dance a whole night at 190 and have a great night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's why it's like it doesn't have to be fast tempos. It's just gotta be the right vibe.
The right vibe. Well, that's quite the That's quite the statement right there. I like that. Okay, so what is in terms of Balboa, right? I was curious. I think first of all, I think it's crazy that you took your first Balboa class from Ashley, and now she's like, are you guys like partners or competition
Yeah,
partners or?
yeah, competition partners. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Does she still teach?
Yeah, she teaches a lot. But she does like up in LA, she does a lot of private lessons and she teaches like small classes and stuff, but not out of a specific studio. Not like when she was at Lindy Loft.
Oh, is it the same places where Sylvia Sykes teaches or is that
No, she just
different?
does it like either like she'll rent a place for the day or she'll do it like on the roof of her apartments. Like they have like a
Oh,
really cool space. We'll practice up there sometimes. It's pretty cool. Or she'll do private lessons wherever, just depending. She's
oh,
great. If you want to take some private Lindy Hop lessons or shag, she's great shag dancer. So
oh, okay. I'll include Ashley's information below for anyone who's coming to LA who wants to take a private from her or anyone in LA.
yeah.
So speaking of Ashley, because I have so much respect for her and just dancing with her is so inspirational. So I was curious for you, who are your Balboa inspirations?
Um, I mean, I kind of talked about a lot of them. We're so lucky to have people that inspire us in our local scene.
Yeah.
So every time I go dancing, like Jacob Wigger, like his dance with Kelly Arsenal at Hot Rhythm Holiday is like my favorite dance right now. It was so,
Ah.
I mean, I keep telling him too. I'm like, I was so good. Nick Williams obviously is incredible. Blake is like magic. Jeremy Oth is just like he is like one of the most inspiring to me because his creativity,
Mm.
it's just so fun to watch. And then Chris is also like so great. And then like old timers and things like that, like Maxi Dorf, like watching him do what he did is just amazing. And then for like non-locals, it's Andreas Olsen. I just love his dancing so much. Like I'm really glad I did all that solo Balboa stuff. He's such a giving teacher. I wish he'd lived closer so I could take classes from him. But yeah, like we're really lucky that our local people that are great people and you get to be friends with are also like the most inspirational.
Yeah, and tell me a bit more about Andreas because I saw his video where he did slow bow and that I watched
Oh
that
yeah,
video a few
his slow
times.
bow is awesome. He's from Sweden and he and his partner Olga like won last year or the last cowbell before the pandemic. And he's just great. Like he's got a good vibe. He's got his own style of dancing. So
Mhm,
it's like it's really cool because it obviously is Balboa. And it's obviously inspired by very classic Balboa. At
mhm.
the same time, he really pushes the boundaries on it too. So you can see like the very like true to Balboa stuff that he's doing while still like being original and finding his own voice and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when you say your own voice and your own style, one of the first things that came to mind for me was Jennifer Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
Yeah.
partnered with her for years. Yeah, like
Yeah.
we were partners for a long time. And she's got again really great style. Does really cool stuff and a great teacher too. Like I really like her classes.
Yeah, I'd really like to take a private with her because Amy took classes with her and Amy said, Andre, you should take a private. When Amy tells me that, I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah.
I need to do.
Well, just come to Northwest Balfest with us, and then you can take one from there.
When is that? When is Northwest Belfast?
End of July. End of July.
Oh, snap, dude. I'm pretty sure I have another event that
Move
month.
it. Move it.
Move. You're just like, cancel it. Balboa all the way. Cancel
All
it.
Balboa all the time.
Dude, like I've seen you pull some Lindy Hop out every once in a while.
Only if I have to.
Yeah.
Only if the song just like does not work for Balboa, or the person I'm dancing with is just Balboa is not going to work. All right, okay,
Dude,
we'll do this.
I I was gonna say because I imagine that like Fast Feet is probably one of your favorite nights
Oh,
ever.
it's by far it's my favorite of all. Of
Yeah,
all things to do is Fast Food Friday at Atomic, because like Bobby McGee's is great, but it's still like a kind of a mix.
yeah.
You know, Lindy Groove is cool. It's so close to my house, but it's just the tempos are often not where I want it to be. And
Mhm.
so I only go if there's DJs that I know will play, if not the tempos I want, at least the feel that I want.
Uh-huh.
Um, Tuesdays at Atomic are really fun. So that's
Yes.
like Grace does a great job of playing like a good mix.
Hmm.
Enough songs that I enjoy dancing to, but still enough songs for people that are looking for slower tempos or different vibes. And so I'm I'm always there on Tuesdays. And then but of everything, Fast Food Friday is my favorite.
Really?
It's just good songs the whole time. You can take breaks and not feel like you're gonna miss something. you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say because just so you know, I'm taking DJ lessons from Augie right
Yeah.
now. And so my hope is that I become one of those DJs where you see, oh, Andre's DJing. He'll try
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
teach me, you know?
Nice.
That is one of my goals is to cater like to the Balboa crew. So I'm still building that up. Okay, but we were talking about Balboa inspirations and fast feet. For anyone who was wondering, Atomic actually has this Friday night. We dance on Tuesdays and Fridays. And Fridays, there's a main floor. And then some Fridays, they have fast feet in the back room where it's all just fast music. And you're not obligated to dance Balboa, but you can do Balboa, Shag, Lindy
Fast
Hop.
Lindy. Yeah. Yeah. There'll be a lot of people doing Shag, a lot of people doing Balboa, but there's definitely people doing Fast Lindy in there too.
Yeah. And so I had never done that before. And I'm always so thankful for Grace and Blake who run that because anytime anyone walks in, and Grace, if you're listening to this, this is a shout out to you because anytime anyone walks in, Grace is like, welcome to like make
Yeah.
sure everyone feels welcome. And I always thought that was that speaks to me as like the community guy who loves the
Yeah.
community and whatnot. But oh man, Jason, you're bringing out some great stuff, dude. One other question I want to ask is, what's something else about Balboa that maybe I didn't get to, but that's something that you wanted to chat about a little bit?
Um, don't be afraid of it. Like it's
Oh,
actually way easier than you think.
uh-huh.
I think people overthink it
Mm,
and they think like, okay, I gotta the basic is 1, 2, 3, 4, like you literally don't need to do anything with your feet. You
hmm.
could stand still and just move your weight to the right spots and you're going to be good.
Uh-huh.
Like it's so much easier than you think it is. Everybody just is afraid of it for some reason. And so,
Mm,
like and if you're a follow or you want to be a follow and do Balboa and you're afraid, please come ask me. I like dancing with everyone, including
aw,
people that don't dance Balboa. And like one of my favorite two of my favorite things are finding people that don't dance Balboa but that are willing to try it with me and getting
mhm,
them to like feel comfortable with the basic after like 1 or 2 dances going, oh, this is really fun. Yeah.
uh,
Or really good Lindy Hop dancers that do Balboa somewhat
uh-huh.
are some of my favorite people to dance with because
Ah,
the way they express themselves is really fun for me. And so I really
mhm.
like dancing with like people that are not Balboa dancers. Like
Right.
really fun. And so like don't be afraid of it. It's actually way easier than you think. You're just overthinking it. That's what I would
That's
say.
that's a powerful message. Dude, just watch. In like a year, you're gonna have five or so people who don't know about both. They say, oh, you said that I could come
Yeah.
and dance in that podcast.
Well, it's funny because I have a few friends that are like, oh, there's no follows here tonight. I'm like, what are you talking about? Anyone here? Like, you have to develop people to dance with. Like, you
Mhm.
can't rely on them like going to classes and learning how to do it and all that. Like if you want people to dance with, you need to help them become people to dance with. And so that's something I do all the time. Like, I've had a few people that I dance with a lot that were not maybe the best Balboa dancers, like follows when I first started with dancing with them. And just I keep making them dance Balboa with me. And they've gotten really good, like
Ah,
really fun. And I really, really enjoy dancing with them and dance with them all the time now. And now they're like, oh, Balboa is really great. And I'm like, yeah, I told you. So like if you want more people to dance with you, you just have to dance with people who are not necessarily the ones you want. And like I would love, you know, I love dancing with like the high level follows that we have in our scene, but I'm not gonna wait for that. Like I'm going to dance with like who's available to dance because I want to dance literally every song. So,
Yeah.
you know, like and I love when I get to dance with some really great follows who can do stuff that is just amazing. But also like dancing with people who don't know anything. And like
Right.
we just have a good, simple dance, and it's really fun.
Dude, that's so what you just said is so good. You said you need to develop, if you want to dance with more people, you need to develop more people. And
Yeah.
that means going and dancing with maybe not just like the high level people that know all the stuff, but with really just anyone. And maybe they might find that spark just like you did when you went to that Balboa class.
Yeah. Yeah. Like dance with everybody. You know,
Dude, that's
yeah.
yeah, no, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's just, but yeah, that's how I feel about it is like the way to get more people to do the dance you like is to just dance with more people and like
Yeah.
you know maybe nudge them to do the dance you want to do. It helps that I only do Balboa, and so it makes people that like would maybe otherwise dance Lindy Hop if it was someone else do Balboa with me, and then all they have to have is like one or two good dances with me, and then they're like, oh yeah, I want to dance Balboa with Jason when I see him.
Yeah. On speaking to that, I do have to give a quick shout out to Julie Roman and Jerron because they're trying to do that to me for Shag.
Yeah,
Like,
it's great. Yeah.
No, I sat and I spoke with Julie for like 2 hours or so at Lindy on the Rocks in Denver. She was just she essentially gave me like a free mini private on what Shag is, and I was like, "That's Julie's so cool, dude." And so they're both so cool.
I was so glad I got to dance with her a lot this last weekend.
Oh yeah, because she was there.
Yeah,
she's not injured anymore, right?
No, that's what she told me before the weekend. She's like, I'm not injured. We can dance finally more often. And we had a lot of really great dances. She's so much fun. Dude, I love really expressive follows, follows who like take ownership of their dance and like to do a lot of stuff. I love it. So I love giving room for that. And so Julie's a great person to dance with like that.
I think this is one of the reasons why I like you so much, dude. You're like, you're so giving and you're so like open. And might I add, a really cool point is that you just do it without alcohol. Like you don't need alcohol in order to do that, you know? And you've never had alcohol in your entire life.
Never. Yeah. 48 years, never drank. No drugs.
Yeah. That's major congrats to you. I only know of like Ryan Swift, who also has never had alcohol.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, I know other people. I'm not religious. And so I know people who are religious that have never had alcohol, but that's never been the reason for me. To be honest, I'm just a contrarian and like cool. Something, I mean, it's probably why I like Balboa over Lindy Hop. You know, like if something's cool, I want to do the opposite. And so when I was like 16, 17, everybody started drinking. I was like, those guys are lame. I'm not doing that. And I just stuck with it ever since. I mean, that's not totally it, but that's definitely added a little bit to it. Like I've always had this kind of like anti-establishment feel to me. And so like, and then I just, when I was 16, I started working at Burger King in Phoenix, Arizona. And the kids I worked with, because it was all the high school kids that worked there.
Yeah.
They were all skater kids. And that's how I got into skateboarding was with these guys. And they all were like partied, like they were drinking, they were smoking weed, they were dropping acid all the time. And like, I saw the negative effects it had on them, even though I loved these guys. Like I saw the negative effects it had on them really early. And I grew up in a very religious family. So we didn't have alcohol and drinking in my family. And at that point, by the time I was 16, I already knew that I was not religious. Like so that wasn't the factor. But when you're brought up with that kind of, you know, you still have that in you. And so like that, like you aren't brought up with this thing, so it's easy to not do it, right? So when I saw the negative effect it had on them, that's when I kind of was like, I don't really need that. And then I heard, and this is like funny, but there's a band called Minor Threat, who's like the original straight edge band. And
Yeah.
like listening to them when I was 16, I was like, oh yeah, this is all the stuff that I think. And they just kind of reinforced that. And though I never was straight edge and I never would claim to be straight edge, it like reinforced my like, yeah, I don't need any of that stuff. And then here I am, you know, what, 32 years later or whatever, still haven't drank or done drugs. But I played in bands with people that drank. You know, everyone I used to hang out with were definitely drinking, and I've been around a lot of drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. And I don't care. Like, you do you. I could care less what anyone else does. It's never been about like an opinion about other people and what they do. It's always been just like, this is the choice for me.
Yeah.
And like, seriously, like, you guys do your thing. Oh, you need drinks? Let me buy you a round of drinks. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. Which some people sometimes are like, oh, should we not? I'm like, dude, drink whatever you want. Like, you can tell me how many parties I've been at with like lots of stuff going on. I don't care. Do your thing. It's you. You know, like, I'm for decriminalization of all drugs. Like, everything's fine. Just be smart and don't hurt yourself. That's the only thing I care about.
Dude, you're so cool, Jason. You're so, yeah,
Well,
man.
I'm just old and
And a contrarian.
yeah.
All right. Well, starting to wind down this amazing podcast here. I just got some of the closing questions for you, but I was curious, like, if people were trying to find out more information about you, how would they find that out? You have like an Instagram or something?
I mean, sure. I've got an Instagram. Jason is cursed. Is my Instagram. There's not much there. I used to be in a band called Midnight Movies. You could look that up.
Okay.
It's funny. Kenji, who like went with us to Phoenix, dug up like the EPK, the electronic press kit that my band did in like 2003, literally 20 years ago. And I watched it yesterday, and I maybe 2 days ago, and I was just like, oh man, I forgot how great a time this was. So want to know more about me and my past, go look up Midnight Movies EPK, and that's like a fun idea of like the music and stuff that I did in the past. Other than that, just I'm just out there dancing. Come find me on the dance floor.
So sweet of you. All right, yeah, and I'll put all that information down below. So what about the next one is travels. So you mentioned Great Lakes Balboa, right? What other events are you going to for the rest of the year?
Okay, I'm actually doing like a lot this year. It's funny because I did Hot Rhythm Holiday, and then I did Cowbell, and then Hot Rhythm Holiday, and then we just did Badass, and then something is happening, and I don't know exactly what it is yet, in Denver at the end of June. So I've already bought my tickets for that because my sister lives in Denver, so I can visit her. But Laura Keats putting on something in Denver for Balboa in the end of June.
Okay.
Not the very last weekend, like the 31st, but like the 25th, 26th, something like that. So we're gonna go to that. And then I'm going to Northwest Balfest in July in Seattle. Then Camp Hollywood, obviously, in LA. And then after that is Great Lakes Balboa Escape in Chicago at the end of September, early October. I think that's it. And then Cowbell will be back before we know it in January. So
yeah. It'll just like come back so quickly.
Although I've been told that I really need to go to For Follow's Sake, which I think is in North Carolina. I heard it was really great. And so that sounds like really a fun thing, especially because I want to be like, my values in Balboa are, I want to, one, be really comfy to dance with. Two, be really clear in my leading, like, so that what I'm leading, like, is not big, like what's going on. I want to be very clear. And three, give a lot of space for follows to express themselves, because that to me is really fun. And so with that, I was told you got to go to For Follow's Sake, because it's like, that would be right up my alley as a lead.
Dude, you, Jet, and I all have like pretty similar dance values, because that's the same for me. Like the whole space thing, that's important. As also, I heard that For Follow's Sake, which is organized by Hillary Hudson, I think Cami Asher also helped organize that.
Oh, nice.
just heard raving wonderful reviews about that.
Yeah, that's what Bert was telling me how much fun it was. So I'm definitely gonna look into it this coming year.
I mean, there was also going to be Bal at this, but like the event I'm planning, like there is going to be Bal. So
nice.
hopefully,
Well,
hopefully you can make that.
And it's in SoCal, right?
It is in SoCal, yeah. It is. It'll be in SoCal, and I haven't like put out any additional information yet. I'm still working on deets, but yeah. All right, and here's the last question that I asked to all of my guests, but it is: what is a message you want to leave with any swing dancers listening right now?
Don't worry about other people watching you.
Oh,
just have fun. Like nobody cares. Just have a good time. Like and like find people to dance with. Ask everybody, dance with everyone. Social dancing is the point to me. So get out there and social dance. Don't worry about anything. You know, there's just another song. The next song will start in like 2.5 minutes. So, you know, like just go dance.
Dude, that is such a powerful message. I love that. Just have fun. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks and just dance your ass off, essentially. Yeah. Jason, this was a blast. I had so much fun. Thank you so much for taking time to hang.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. I know we could have gone in so many different directions, but I'm sure we're going to have you back on to talk a bit more. Cool. But for now, everyone else, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'll leave all the information down below. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, follow us on Instagram, as well as subscribe to our YouTube. That's where you'll find all of the information. But thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks, Andre.
Bye. Thank you so much for lending us your ears on the SoCal Summer Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Spotify, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're looking forward to putting out some great episodes for you, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.